everyone, welcome to the second episode of The Truest Crime. Today we will be discussing the case of Jonbeńet Ramsay, the 6-year-old beauty queen. So let's get right into the video. So sit down, grab a snack, and let's get into the truest crime. Jonbeńet Patricia Ramsay was born August 6th of 1990 and passed away on December 25th, 1996, Christmas Day of 1996, which is incredibly sad to know that this little girl would pass away on Christmas Day, one of the happiest days of the year. Jonbeńet lived with her family in Boulder, Colorado. Her family consisted of her father John, her mother Patsy, and her brother Burke. She had 2 other siblings as well, John and Elizabeth. Elizabeth, however, passed away 2 years after Jonbeńet was born from a car accident. On December 25th, 1996, after her mother Patsy had put her to bed, Jonbeńet would go missing from her family home. Just shortly after Jonbeńet was discovered to be missing, her mother Patsy found a ransom note for $118,000 laying on the staircase. This ransom note would state that in exchange for $118,000, the kidnappers would then give Jonbeńet back if Mr. Ramsay could acquire this $118,000. When officers began investigating this case, John and Patsy Ramsay would be people of interest in this case, also including her brother Burke. The entire Ramsay family would then be considered people of interest in this case. No one understood what had happened to little Jonbeńet, but they would make a gruesome discovery in the family's home. Police would make a disturbing discovery in the Ramsays' basement. Jonbeńet would be found deceased in the basement, tied up at the wrists and ankles. She would be unresponsive. She would be completely cold to the touch. Nobody understood what had happened to Jonbeńet. Jonbeńet would also be reportedly very, very stiff and in a position where it was very disturbing to see. Officers would not be able to find who had done this to poor little Jonbeńet. And for over 20 years, the case would remain unsolved. It still remains unsolved, but there has been new information that has been released by Colorado police. Some of the information is highly disturbing, and I'm not entirely sure I can talk about it, but knowing that some of these things happened to this little girl who is 6 years old, and this horrible things happened to her. Some of this new information also involves the fact that there may be somebody who was related to the case and may have done these things to Jonbeńet. There is also information as to how things were done and how Jonbeńet ended up the way that she was when she was found. This information involves a individual who enjoys looking at inappropriate content of children. And the other information regarding the way that Jonbeńet was found was that she may have been attacked with a stun gun, as there was 2 marks on her neck and another one in another area that I'm not entirely sure of, but they measured it with a prong of a stun gun and it matched up perfectly, but they're not entirely sure. Even though there is one suspect in the Jonbeńet Ramsay case, they're not entirely sure that he has done it. He hasn't been convicted to it. He has only confessed to it. But my theory is that he just wants publicity for this. Or he wants to stay in jail because he's been arrested for several other things, but he has not been convicted of unaliving Jonbenet. At some point during the investigation, Patsy, Jonbenet's mom, would end up being diagnosed with cancer, and she would unfortunately lose her battle with cancer. And 20 years later, after this case had come to a unresolved close, John Ramsay and then his son John Jr. would then go on TV outlets such as 60 Minutes Australia and every other news outlet that they could find to proclaim their innocence. And unfortunately, we really don't have all of the facts. There is more information coming out every day. And even though someone has confessed to this crime, we don't know for sure who did it. And we're still not going to know who did it until the Boulder, Colorado police figure out what exactly happened. And people are going to continue to have their theories. Someone will say, oh yeah, I definitely think the Ramsay family did it. And then there's people that will say, no, they didn't do it. Who would hurt their 6-year-old child? Well, unfortunately, it happens more often than you think. But because of the fact that we don't know if the mom did it, we don't know if the dad did it, and we certainly don't know if the other brother did it, but everybody will continue to have their theories until it's fully resolved. And that's the way that it's going to continue to be. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I wish there was more information that I could give you on Jonbenet, but the information that I have is what I'm able to give to the best of my ability. I want to be able to make these videos and allow these victims of these crimes to have their story heard and to make sure that they are not forgotten. That is what my channel is about. My channel is about true crime and helping the loved ones of these victims spread the word of their loved one in order to properly continue their legacy. Thank you everyone so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for taking a deep dive with me on this case. And I will see you on the next episode of The Truest Crime.